What's good? You are now rocking with the Bigs alongside Nicholas Moreano. I am Herb Howard. Checking in from day 2 of the NFL draft. Nick, it is off and running. The Bears came into this day expecting to have 3 picks in the second and third rounds total. They've already made one, and they made a pretty big trade to move back and accumulate some more picks. I thought it was a good value on the trade. Let's talk about that before we get to the pick they actually made.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was going to be some movement, and Ryan Poles actually alluded to that last night after day 1 concluded. So the Bears doing this, saying that there could be still value in this draft, moving back a couple of slots now, and that pick will actually be made as we're kind of recording here. But it made sense because the Bears did make that first pick of the night, and now accumulating some more picks as well.
Made a lot of sense. We were all kind of waiting to see what they were going to do at 41 after they made their selection at 39, and then the trade came through. Like, oh, well, what are they doing? Saw what they actually did. There was some pretty good value. They were able to move up from mid 200s into the high 100s, and they also moved up their own pick in the second round from 62 to 52, I believe is what, or from 72 to 50 to 62, I think is what they actually did. So some good value in the trade. But how about the guy they actually took? Wide receiver out of Missouri, Luther
Burden the third. Well, we just got a chance to talk to Luther Burden the third.
Edgy guy.
And edgy is a good way to describe him. I asked him. He posted on his Instagram story early morning, 12:52 a.m. about him on the practice field. And I asked him about that.
Were you still here at 12:52? Because I think I left at like 12:45.
I was. I left out of this building at 12:55. But he posted that, and I asked him about it. Like, what was the reason behind that? And he said he had to basically clear his head, and we can all sense, everybody that was on that call, there was frustration, there was edginess to him. I think he admitted like he thought he should have been a first rounder. And you kind of saw that in his press conference today.
You could see it. He has a huge chip on his shoulder that he's going to be bringing here to Chicago, trying to prove a lot of people wrong. I also asked him about the fact that the Bears have a pretty crowded room right now. They have invested in the slot position, or at least guys that can play that position. Olamide Zaccheaus, they brought in Devin Duvernay, and then obviously yesterday they go ahead and bring in a tight end who can also play that slot position. And so he says, listen, I'm going to come in and compete. I'm going to do what I know how to do, and I'm going to continue to prove people wrong, which I've done all of my life, man. That edge and that competitive spirit.
It stood out, man. It stood out. It was different. And you know what? We got also a chance to hear from Breck Ackley, the College of Directing here for the Bears, and he was asked, like, there's only one football and all these playmakers. Is that an issue? And essentially he was saying with how defenses are these days, like, you just want to throw a bunch of different weapons at them, and the Bears do have a lot of different weapons in the form of tight ends, in the form of those wide receivers you were just talking about. So the Bears have given Caleb Williams a bunch of weapons going into his second season in the NFL.
Listen, if Coach Johnson is who we think he is, he will find a way to utilize all of these different weapons and to attack these defenses, put stress on these defenses in many different ways. And I think the more pieces that you have to do that, the better. These are good problems to have, as opposed to some of the problems the Bears have had in the past in terms of trying to find weapons where they may have one or maybe two. Now they got a lot, and Coach Johnson will figure out how to deploy them and how to go about attacking those defenses.
Yeah, and Luther Burden, he's a guy that will primarily, I think, play in the slot for Ben Johnson. He was also a guy last season in college football tied for the most forced missed tackles. So once he gets the ball in his hands, he's able to get those yards after the catch, which will obviously open up things for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams.
You talk about a 2-time All-SEC performer. The guy's been productive. You can see the explosiveness just in his highlight tapes. Not even taking a deep dive into his film, but just on his highlight tapes, you can see how explosive he is, how dynamic he is with the ball in his hand, his ability to make guys miss in open space. The Bears have not addressed the trenches yet on either side of the ball, not D-line, not O-line to this point in the draft. They still got some more picks today, and then we'll see what they also do tomorrow. We will be here. We will bring it all to you as soon as it comes in. Of course, we still got to hear from Ryan Poles a little bit later this evening to talk about the moves that the Bears have made and will make on day 2 of the NFL draft. That is Nick Moreano. I am Herb Howard. Appreciate y'all for tuning in for the Bigs Media. It's us.